Good morning. Today we are doing our last unit and our last objective in this unit, PO50. So it says I can graph a function using that function table. So our last objective, we were creating the function table. Now we're looking at combining what we know about graphing our coordinates, that ordered pair, putting it onto the graph, and using that function table that we created in our last objective. So we're taking what we've done in previous objectives and we're just putting it all together in this last objective. So remember that in a function table, each pair of x and y values represent an ordered pair. So remember, we have our ordered pairs are always alphabetical, x then y. And our function tables have our x column and our y column. So you can graph a function using the function table by plotting each ordered pair on a coordinate plane and connecting them with the line. We've already graphed ordered pairs. We know how to do this. So now we're just going to take that function table, write out the ordered pairs, and then graph it. So we've got 3 steps that we're going to do here. I'm going to move this up so we can see it better. First step is we're going to write the ordered pair from the table. So I can see here's my x's, here's my y's, and they go together. So this first section, my x is -2, my y is 0. That is my ordered pair. So I'm going to take that xy, and I'm going to graph it. -2, 0 would be right here on my graph. So I'm taking my ordered pair from that function table, that x and y, I'm writing it as an ordered pair. And then I'm graphing it. -2 on the x and 0 on the y would be right there. Yeah. So
please pardon this interruption. A very important reminder for those going outside. The front hill and the soccer field are closed due to ice. The front hill and the soccer field closed. Playground, back hill, fine.
So our first step is to write the ordered pair. So you're writing it right next to it or underneath it. Second step is to graph it. And our third step we're going to get to, we can't do that third step until we've done the first 2 steps. So everybody should be writing their ordered pairs. X is 0, y is 2. Then you go over and you graph it. X is 0, y is 2 would be right here. I'm going to graph my next ordered pair, 2, 4. So I'm going to go to 2, go up 4, and then I have 3, 5. So I'm going to go to 3 and go up 5. Okay? Does that part make sense? How to get your ordered pair and how to graph it. Now I'm going to do what we did before, and we're going to connect all those points into my line. Try to draw it as straight of a line as you can. The last step says list an ordered pair not included in the table, but that is on the line. So I'm going to look at that slope. How do I go from one point to the next? Attention should be up here, not turned around and communicating with people at a different table. Have you written all of this down on your paper? So when I'm putting stuff on the board, it's for a reason. I know how to do this. I want you putting it on your paper so when you study, you know what to do. So I see your hand, just give me a moment. I'm going to look at what that slope is. How did I go from one point to the next? I went up 1 and over 1. So it says list an ordered pair not included on the table, but that is on the line. So I'm going to go to a point and say, well, here I went up 1 over 1, so I'm going to go up 1 over 1. That point isn't on my function table, but it's on the line, right? So I'm going to write it. My x is 1. and my y is 3. So that is a point that is not listed, but it is on the line. Is that the only point I could put? No, I could put other points. I could go to this dot right here, go up 1 over 1 and say, oh, this is going to be on the line. I could say, so that's -1, +1. They are both on the line. So you're going to look at that slope from 2 points that you know, up 1 over 1, and I'm going to go to another point and go up 1 over 1 to where there isn't already a point. And I'm just going to write what that ordered pair is. James.
So we're basically trying to do we're just trying to find corner plane on the line that you wrote with the first one you got.
Correct.
Okay.
So we're graphing the line with the points that are in the table. And then we're using our knowledge of slope, how to go from one point to the next, and we're going to go to a point that's not already on the line. So you pick a point that is on the line and do that same slope. Bennett.
What's the point of writing it down? Like on the what you did up there, like the -2.
So when it says write each ordered pair, it's to make sure that you are understanding the X and the Y. So it's just kind of ingraining it in the future when you have it down and you know what you're doing, you wouldn't have to do that. But because we're just learning the ordered pairs with the function table, we're doing that extra step of actually writing it out. So I'm looking at this next one and I don't have space next to it to write my ordered pairs, so I'm gonna write them below. I'm gonna say, okay, I've got -3, -2, -1, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. And again, we're writing it out as a way of just solidifying it in our minds because this is new for us. We haven't done ordered pairs from a function table. So we're doing this extra step that I fully expect everyone to be doing because it is a part of our directions. We have to do step A. Step B is to graph the function. So we're going to take those 4 points and we're going to put them on our coordinate plane and we're going to draw our line. So -3, -2, -1, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to connect my dots with a line, trying to draw as straight of a line as I can. And to find a point, my line isn't the best line because I'm using a marker and I'm not as precise as I could be. But we're going to look at what our slope is. We're going to say, well, to go from this point to this point, I went up 1 over 1. Right? To go from here to here, I went up 2 over 2. That rise over the run is the same as 1 over 1. So when we simplify those slopes, we get the exact same slope. That part makes sense? Remember that slope, that rise over the run. How many up, how many over? So it's 1 over 1. So I can come to this dot. I can come to any of these dots and say, I need to find a dot on the line that isn't already plotted. So I'm going to go to this very end one. And I'm going to say, well, I can go up 1 over 1. So what is my ordered pair that isn't already listed, but it will be on the line? What would that ordered pair be? If I went up 1 over 1, what is my ordered pair, Nora? 3, 4. Because if I go to right here, I'm going over 3 and up 4. So this is my ordered pair that's not already listed, but it's on that line. Enzo?
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so you went to 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3, and then you went to -1. Alright, no.
I had -3, -2. I had -1, 0, 0, 1, and 2, 3.
Wait, so you're going like that.
So you do the X first, remember. This line going across is your X. So that's your first number that you're going to. So -3 was right here. Then I have to do my Y, which is either up or down, and it was down 2. So that's how I got down there.
Wait, can you go down 2 with the dot instead of going up?
When you're graphing it originally,
Yeah.
you're going to where that number is. Negative numbers are down, positive numbers are up. So if it's a negative number, you're going down. Matthew, what don't you get? Which step? Okay, so, I'm sorry, say that again? How I got the 3, 4, so it's the final step. Could you graph the ordered pairs? Were you good with graphing the ordered
I
pairs?
was good with graphing it, I was good with labing it, I thought I said it right, and then I just did.
So what ordered pair did you put?
I mean, first I was making a -2, so I just.
So that one was already graphed, that's already one that we have. So these 4 ordered pairs they gave us from the function table. So that's what you put on there. So let me clear those lines away. Are you with me with that?
Yes.
Okay. And then drawing our line. Oh, that was a really bad line. Because I'm not 100% calibrated here. So let me try that again. Ooh, much better line. Okay, so we're good with that step, right? The drawing the line, connecting order pair. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna use our knowledge of the slope. Because the slope tells us how our line continues. So remember, our slope is rise over run. The balloon going up and down over the balloon going across. So I'm going to look to see what my slope is of 2 of my dots. Okay, so I could do any 2 dots on my slope, and then I'm going to simplify it down. Okay, so I could pick my first 2 dots. I go up 1, 2, over 1, 2. So my rise went up 2, my run went over 2. So if I simplify that, what is my rise over run? 1 over 1, because I can divide that 2 up. So now I'm going to use that slope, and I'm going to go to any point on my line, and I'm going to find another point that's not already on there. Because that line goes on and on and on, I can find any of them. So that's when I went and said, okay, if my slope is 1 over 1, if I go to this dot right here and I go up 1 over 1, because that's my slope. I can go to any dot on here and say I'm going to go up 1 over 1, and I'm going to end up on the line. So I'm going to take that slope, and I'm going to go to any point that I already plotted on my line, and I'm going to find an ordered pair. So let's try another one and see if another one makes a little more sense. Let's go to the next one. Sometimes we just need a little more practice. So let's scroll. I'm going to scroll my page up. Who can tell me what my 4 ordered pairs are? Amelia. So remember, we do the X, then the Y.
3, -6,
6. Yep.
0, -3,
Yep.
2, -3. No,
Oh.
not negative 1.
Yep.
6, and 3.
Okay. So I think that we're all understanding this part. putting the X and the Y's into our ordered pairs. And I think that we're all pretty confident with graphing them. So we're going to do -3 to -6, 0, -3, 2, -1, 6, 3. Okay, so I just took those ordered pairs and now I graphed them. Then I'm going to draw my line. It's the last step that's new. Okay, so it's the last step that we're taking the slope now and we're finding another ordered pair. So the first steps we know how to do. We've done those before. We've done finding the slope. So we're adding in finding the slope into this. So which two ordered pairs could I use to find the slope? Somebody find the slope and tell me what you found. Who can find the slope of this line? Matthew?
The first one, the -36 to the 0, -3.
So I go up 1, 2, 3. So my rise is 3, and my run is 1, 2, 3. So it's 3 over 3, right? I need to simplify that. How can I simplify 3 over 3? 1 over 1. I can divide that 3 over 3 to be 1 over 1. No, that's not an ordered pair. I'm going to use that slope to find another ordered pair. So I'm going to go to a different dot on my line, and I'm going to do that slope, 1 over 1. I'm going to go up 1, over 1. That point is not already listed in my ordered pair, so I'm going to write it. So what is my new ordered pair? I'm going over 1, 2, 3, and nope, 3, 0. Because I went over 3 for my X, and I stayed on the line, so it's 0. And that's why we're doing the practice ones together, because the more we practice it, it starts to sink in. James?
Do we have to find slope?
Well, how else are you going to find for sure what point is on the line if our lines aren't always drawn so neatly? Sometimes when I draw, it's not really obvious because my line doesn't end up exactly at the spot. So finding the slope is your way of double checking to make sure that it truly is on the line. Because sometimes when we freehand draw it, it might look like it's a certain spot, but we just drew messy, and it's not really a spot on the line because our line wasn't drawn correctly. So that's why I say find the slope of the ordered pairs that you've graphed already, so you know for sure. Because I'm telling you right now, when I draw, sometimes it's not pretty, and it isn't going to be exactly on it. So finding the slope is your way of double checking. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Luciana?
Where did we get to 0?
Because right here, our dot didn't rise up on the Y. So the Y is a 0 because we didn't go up or down from that x-axis. Let's do one more together. Who can tell me what my ordered pairs are for this last one on this page? And I know I still have a few friends who are trying to make sure we understand what we're doing. Riziki.
-2, -6, -1, -4, 0, -3.
So I'm going to take those 4 pairs and I'm going to plot them -2, -6, -1, -5, 0, -4, 2, -2. I'm going to draw my line. And you can see here my line is getting off, James. It's not how it technically should be if I used a ruler. Okay, so this is why we go to the slope, because my line isn't perfectly straight. So it's looking like, oh, it looks like it would be 4.5, but that's not actually what it is because my line got messed up. So we go to our slope. What is our slope? Remember, we're going to go from one dot over to the next dot. So if I go from -6, I go up 1, over 1 to -5. So my slope again is 1/1. Mr. Schultz has given us some easy slopes. So if I know my slope is 1/1, what ordered pair should be on my line if I had drawn my line nice and neat? Who could tell me an ordered pair that should be on the line? Gigi? So what would my ordered pair be? So Gigi thinks 1, -3. I'm going to use that slope to see if she's right. So I'm going to go over to 1 and down to -3. And that should be up 1/1, and it is. Okay, so that's how we use that slope to make sure. My line didn't exactly go over 1, -3 because my line wasn't perfect. So we use that slope to make sure that our ordered pair does work. Yes?
So -1, 5 would be wrong, right?
-1 and 5. Yeah, that would not be on the line.
Oh, shoot, Lord, I didn't print this.
If you wanted to do -1, -5, we already have that one on as listed as an ordered pair, and the directions were to find a new one. So that wouldn't work because it was already there. Enzo, is it making a little better sense now? Nora? 3, -1. So if I went up 1/1, yep. 3, -1 works. So there's there's multitude of ordered pairs that would work. So I will be checking on your test to see if it works. And yes, that one works. So I'm going to let us work on the second page on our own, quietly working. And if you want to work with me on some of them, I will be at our side table. We are doing the same 3 directions. Write the ordered pair, graph it, and then to find an ordered pair that's not already listed, find the slope and go up and over. Pay attention if it's a negative slope, which direction you're going. And then we have our review working with fractions, multiplying and dividing fractions. Remember, multiplying fractions, you multiply across and then simplify. Dividing fractions, you change it to multiply and you flip that second fraction to its reciprocal, and then you do the same multiplying. So flip dividing to multiply, flip the second fraction to its reciprocal, then multiply across. So working quietly, we have a little bit of work time. My friends watching at home, we hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon.